to start the chairs. That's roughly the drawing we were going off. We're not going to do exactly like that, obviously, but that's a chair I have at home, and going by that, I was able to just measure it and get the cutting list of what it took to make this chair, because it'd be similar material. So first thing I'm going to do is machine up this, and then I'll come back and show you the process of marking everything up. Okay, what I'm doing here, these are the seats for the chairs. I've got 2 on each. I've got 4, so 8 chairs. I'm going to sand them. I'll just show you the sander. A handy little sander for any small shop. It's a little drum sander, I'll show you. Right, I'll send them through and show you how it works. Just to show you that machine working. This Kufu, it's 2 foot wide, twin drum. Any small shop should have one. I'd recommend them anyway. There is better models, but this one I've had it years and it works for me. Okay, these are the slabs cut for the seats. So I'm going to carve them out now in the middle. I'll explain that in the next little step. Okay, this is one of the seats. I've carved it out. I hope you can see that. I carved it out on the table saw. There's a jig. I have it here. I'll just show you it working. But to find out how to make one if you need to, there's a chap called Mario Rodriguez. And if you just punch in carving a wooden seat with a saw, he explains to you how this thing is made. It takes a little while to make it, but once you do, it's very easy to make a seat out of it. So I'll just show you now working. This is my next blank. So I'll switch on the extractor and saw, and I'll go to it. Now there you go. It only takes about 10 minutes once you have it done. It will take some sanding, but it is what it is. Like I say, it takes a bit of time to make it. I think that'll work it for the effect. In case you're wondering, anybody, what that is, it's a blaster sidekick. It's really for drying motorcycles, but it's very handy in the shop. They're cheap. a lot less noisy than an air compressor. I use it every day. Now at this point, I've machined all my stock for the chairs. Everything is ready to go for joinery, for mortise and tenon. I can show you my plan now. I'll just move the camera over to these chairs. This is a set that I have at home. There's 6 of these, 2 carvers. And what Noel and myself have decided that his chairs will be something in the middle of these 2. We found, or we thought at least, that if I did 8 like that one, they'd be too overpowering around the table. And this isn't, it won't suit that table. So what we've decided to do is go not quite as high, about there, that's 46 inches. And instead of doing the rounded head, I'll pencil it there roughly. I'm not sure if you can see it. But with it being like Knights of the Round Table, I'm going to do like the top of a shield. Like the shield I have there. And then I'm going to put a Celtic knot here in walnut. Like that. That's my plan. You have the advantage of me here because at the start of the video you've seen them finished, whereas I haven't yet. So my plan is to put that there, and on the end of these tenons show you here. Okay, instead of the wedge going that way, I'm going to send a wedge down this way, and I'm going to do that in walnut as well. I think it'll look good. So that's my plan. I'm going to crack on. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mortise and tenon these rails here, and with that then I'll have the 4 legs standing. I won't glue anything until everything is finished machined. So first of all, like I say, I'm going to mark these for mortise and tenon, and I'll show them to you then. Okay, I'll crack on. Just a quick one of how I'm marking the legs. There's a front leg, and this rail will be going in. So I just use that to mark, and this then for a haunch. There you go. So I have my haunch, my mortise. The mortise I will send through 2/3. The haunch then only about there for strength. Because I'm going to fox wedge, I'll be cutting these mortises back slightly at an angle. And when I have this tenoned, I'll be putting wedges in to drive and spread for strength. I don't want to go through and look at end grain. So for strength I'm going to fox wedge them, and for the look I'm not going to send them through. That's the front leg. Back leg, quite simple again. I'll mark the height with the front leg. And with the rail, mark the other end of the mortise. That'll be a full mortise. I'll send it straight through again, 2/3, and a fox wedge. So that's all I'm doing at the moment. I'll mark all them, mortise them, and I'll show them to you then. Just a quick one to show you how I chop for the fox wedges. I have the leg level, mortise it out. When I finish doing it square, I'll lift that one then as much as it'll go. Lift it to the full height, and then send the chisel down. And the same at the other end. Lift it as high as it'll go, and then send the chisel down that will mean the angles are the same every time. So just a little tip. Saves doing it with a chisel. Just want to show you this machine working. It's a Multico tenoner. Pound for pound, one of the best tenoners for a small shop, I certainly think. I'll just show it to you working. I'll cut a tenon. This is one of the rails underneath the seat of the chair. So here we go. Just put on the extractor. There you go, simple as that. That one. That'll pass in like that. It's tight now, I won't thump it. I don't want to disturb the calibration of the machine. It's just bad practice to hit anything on a machine. But anyway, that'll tell you, that'll give you an idea. Okay. Right, next thing, I'll just put them together and show you. Let's go in. Alright, that's that. The next thing. These two rails, I'm going to send them down like that. Now, my mortise is 1 3/4 inches. I want this mortise not to interfere with this one. So I'm going to go halfway of what's left. And it'll mean that's 2 1/8. So I'm going to put this one the same, 2 1/8. I'll send them down 2/3 the distance down. I'll fox wedge them again. That's it for now. I'll crack on at that. I'll do it and I'll come back to you. There you go, there's the cuts for the fox wedges. Okay, at this stage, where are we now? Right, that one goes there. That one. I also this time did these two mortises for the back end boards while I was at the machine. Let's just stand it up. Let's see where we go now. That way. Now it's starting to look like a chair. There we go. That'll fit in there. Okay, the shield one, if you can remember, goes there. There'll be this one here. And in the middle, we'll have a 6x1 here. So the next stage then will be to tenon these through these mortises and also tenon this one up into the top and the bottom. So I'll do that and I'll have a look at it then. Okay, next thing is to mark the shield head on the top rail. So I've marked it, it's just inch, so I'm going to bandsaw all of them, sand them, and nearly ready to assemble. The carving will have to go next. It's a Celtic knot, so to sink the Celtic knot in, I think I'm going to carve out a circle down around maybe 3/8 deep and then put the knot on there. But anyway, for now, I'm just going to bandsaw this 8 times. That's one there. I'm just going to mark it now. Mark it on them all. And then I'll bandsaw them. Okay, now I'm doing these rounds for the carving. Carving will sit in there, if you can see that. It should look nice. I'm just going to show you how I did these. It's quite simple. I just cut a little round template, just like that. I'll get a head. There we go. We've got 2 little stops at each end. So it'll sit like that, that's the stoppers. I'll turn it over. And I'm keeping it flush here. Just check that that's central with the top. It looks the part, which it does. Okay, back into place. I'm happy with that, so I'll clamp it. Okay, there you go. I'll carry on, I'll do the rest of them. I'll show you that again. That'll look smashing, I think. So that's what we're aiming for. We'll crack on. I'll do the rest. I'm going to sand this now. I'm going to sand them little rounds, and I'm going to sand off these saw blades, the flat. I'll just show you how I do that with these little sanders. Very handy. There you go, only takes a few minutes. Happy days, it's ready to assemble now. Okay, in this stage, my next step, I'm going to round all these in the top, and then I'm going to sand everything. And I'm going to put the barest little round on all sharp edges. And at the very bottom, I'm not going to leave the bottom of the chair square like that. I'm afraid if it got a bang on the concrete floor, it would chip. So to avoid that, I'm going to put a little chamfer just with the sander, just maybe a little 1/8 chamfer all the way around, just to take that corner to avoid damage. So the next stage you'll see these will be ready for assembly. That will be rounded off. I'll show you how I do that as well. I do that with just a little table router I made up. Handy little tool. So I'll move on and I'll come back to you when they're done. Okay, the stage I'm at now, the legs have been sanded all around. So next thing is to just take the corner with a small bull nose. Take the corner off. Feels better for one thing. If you leave them square, if it ever gets a knock, it'll dint. This protects it from that. So I'll do all four corners. I'll show you now. This little table, I've had it for years, made it up myself. It's handy, it does the trick. I'm going to round them with that, and then, like I said, I'm going to take off these corners just with the sander, just to protect from chips. So that's it. I'll crack on and I'll just show you how I do them. Right, the next joint I want to show you is this little one. A nice, clever looking little joint. When the tenon goes through, let's take it out. I've cut out this little wedge. So that'll pass in. I'll drive this then. That'll pull it very strong. That's a good strong joint, that when it's done. As you can see here, it needs to go more to get it tight. So it's a bit too strong at the moment, but I have yet to sand this wedge. So as I'm fitting it, I'll sand the wedge on the little bench sander to get it perfectly tight. I have a good joint and I don't have this gap here. So that's it. I'll show you now how I did that joint. Now that's the joint driven home. I just put a pencil mark on it. Then I put the wedge to where it's just starting at the bottom here. I'll send it slightly beyond and mark it. On the other side, the very same. Slightly beyond the bottom there. Mark it. Now, that little piece, I'm going to take out, using my mitre saw, I'll set a depth stop, take away that little piece, and then we'll try it again. There's the joint. It's quite simple, but it does look really effective, and it's a good, strong job. So there you are. I'll crack on and I'll do the rest of them. This is the tracing of the Celtic knot that I'm going to carve for the back of the chairs. And over there you can see where I sprayed them, just to mark them for the carving. Similar to what I did the band. It's just an easy way of marking it, I find. Just a quick spray. Give it a few minutes, it'll dry. I'll route them then and chisel them. Okay, that's them routed, ready to chisel, if you can see the lines I've drawn. But before I do, I'm going to bandsaw this out, and I'm also going to thin it. I need it to be a little bit shallower than the depth of that, so I'm going to bring it down to around 10 mil, and then I'll bandsaw them. So while it's in this board, I'm going to be able to put it on the saw and rip it down to the, let's see, 10 mil, and I'll come back to you then. That's it, carved out. Happy enough with that. Now when that's fitted into that circle, it should look smashing. So I'll crack on again. There's no point in filming 8 of them. 1 is enough. I can crack on. I'll carve out the rest of them and we'll start fitting then into the circle. Okay, I'll come back to you in a bit. Now we're going to go back to the pads. As you can see, these lines have to be sanded out. So I'm going to hit them quickly with the mini grinder. That'll take them down pretty quick. And then I'll finish it off with a pad sander. I'll just give you an example. I won't bore you with all of this now, but I'll give you a quick example of how I'm doing it. Okay, what I'm doing now is gluing the front 2 legs, front rail, together as a set. And what I've been doing actually, I'm putting 2 sets of this together. There's a clamp time of about 30 minutes on the glue. So in that 30 minutes, I've been sanding these. I'll sand them, come back, put another couple, then go back to the backs again. The next thing then will be fitting them. Also, while I'm over and back, when I have these all glued together and the carvings in, the next stage then I want to bring it to is here. So eventually, for my last assembly, I'll be just putting in these 2 rails and then it'll sit as a chair. So that's my plan so far. So I'll just put one of these together, show you how I do it. I tend to put plenty glue in the mortise. Saves cleaning. Now, not to forget the all-important fox wedge. Okay, that's it. I'll crack on, I'll do the rest of them. Okay, I'm going to fit a Celtic knot now into the round and see how it turns out. I'm looking forward to this bit. I think it'll look smashing. So I'm just going to trim it on the sander. There you go. I think that's a lovely little effect. I'm happy with it. Okay, I'll crack on and I'll do the rest. Okay, that's a final little sand now, just to take out the scratches from the belt sander, and a slight round over again just for the look and the feel of it. So very happy with that. I'll bring them all to that stage next. Now in this bit we're going to bring the chairs to this stage. I'm going to glue up, I'll show you. I'm going to glue this back piece up. I'll just show you how I do it. Just a little bit of glue on these tenons in this area, because I don't want glue smudging everywhere. And it's not going to take much glue to hold these things. They're very strong, especially when they're wedged. Okay, now what I've decided to do after that, because my wedges, this area behind the wedge obviously isn't going to be seen. So what I've thought of is, I'll drive a screw in them 4 places. It'll mean I can take it out of the clamp straight away. And I'll show you then how I fit the wedges with the sander. The wedges won't have really anything to do, although apart from looking good, they'll certainly stay strong for many years. Right, I'll drive the screws. I'll just move you down now to the sander and I'll show you how I fit the wedges. Okay, just to show you a wedge going in, I've taken that little shape off. See that? Just for the look. I think it'll coincide with this. I just like the look of it. I'm going to sand it until I get this gap to be about 3/16. Then I know when I send it home, it'll be tight, but there'll be no pressure, there'll be nothing to split. So I'll just give it a quick sand, and then we'll try it. Okay, that's perfect. Now I'm very happy with that. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. So I'm going to take much to hold it. And again, just to avoid the cleaning. that's it. Wedge gone home, happy with that. Just a little tip for when you're doing something like this. I'm taking the corner out of the wedges. I've set up a little jig. In this job, everything seems to be an improvised jig of some description. But I have my angle. I can send the wedge until I meet a little pencil line. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I can. I'll set that up. I'll do a few now just to show you how quick they are. But before I do it, here's a little tip. Set them up in the way that you want them. I'm putting the saw cuts to the back, but they won't be seen. So I'll do that on each one of these. Okay, that's done. That saves me checking each one now. I just put them to the machine and they're done. So I'll just show you how quick it is. Now the next thing we're going to do is bring them to this stage by putting on these two rails here. If you can see, I've ploughed the inside of here. That's to fix the lid down. It'll be similar to the way I did the tabletop. I'll make up a little button here that will allow the movement, but I'll show you that later. So just for now, I'll stick these in and I'll show you how I do it. Plenty glue on the mortise. It saves the clean up rather than putting it on the tenon. Again, fox wedges, very important for strength. Glue has a certain longevity, and eventually when the glue will break down in years to come, that's when the wedges will come into play. And it should last for generations, hopefully. Okay, I'm happy with that. The joints are pretty good. There's no rock. I know my bench is perfectly flat, so if it doesn't rock on that, I'm happy. And that's it. She's good to go. Okay, now we've come to the arms. So we're on the home stretch now. I just set this one up to show you first. What I did is I mortise and tenoned this little joint. This one I'll put a screw here and pellet it, and underneath I'll put a screw to hold that together. So I'll cut them out now. I'll give them a slight round again and sand them up, and I'll just show you how I cut these out. I have a little template. So right, I'll get cracking at it and see how we get on. Okay, I've bandsawed out all the armrests. So I'm going to trim them with a straight profile cutter now with the bearing. Similar to what I did on the spindle with the back legs. It's just these are smaller. I'm going to do them on the router. So these are handed. So for this side, I'm going to have the template this way up, and I've kept the pieces for this side close to me that I don't confuse them and do them ones accidentally. So I'll do half of them on this template like this, and the other half I turn over and machine them, and that'll give me the mortise on the correct side that I need. So I'll just do one now just to show you and see how we get on. Okay, that's it. I can round over that. I'll sand the edges, obviously in flats. The screw holes from the template are underneath. I can fill them. And that's it. I'll just crack on and do the rest of them. What I'm doing here, I'm just marking the little bits for the armrest. I simply just bandsaw it. Quick pop on the sander, round it off. Simple little things. So, as I say, I'm just going to mark them up now. Right, I'm ready to put on the arms now, so I'll just show you how I do that. Just screw them on. A little bit of glue. Just locks into this little corner. Keep it up tight to that, in tight to the leg, and they'll all be the same that way. It's just a height piece to keep everything square. Okay, they're in place. I'll just pinch it now with a clamp. That nothing moves while I'm putting the screws in. Only thing left to do now is just to pallet the holes. I'll glue them in place. It'll be ready then for a final sand and of course to be sprayed. So, whereas it can be a little monotonous doing a set of 8 of anything, It also is quite satisfying when you do get through it all and to see the result of them all together. I'm looking forward to it. The little tip is always to remember to have the grain on your pellet the very same direction as whatever you're driving into. Nothing looks worse if the grain doesn't line up. Okay, that's it. So I'll carry on. I'll finish the rest of them, then I'll sand everything, and we're ready for lacquer. Okay, we're coming to the final stages now. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. This table and chairs is going in tomorrow morning, so we'll be loading it this evening. Martina, my wife Martina, is helping me with the finishing touches. Hello Martina, say hello.
Hello.
Hello, I may as well introduce you to the crew now. This is Alpha. He's my youngest apprentice and the boldest one. And this one is Bella. Bella's 6, and you Bella? Good girl. Okay. What we're doing now is we're sanding between coats. We'll get a final coat on around lunchtime and load then tonight. So that's it. We'll leave you alone now until we're ready to show you the finished product. Okay, this is it finished, so all put together. I'll give you a quick little tour, see what you think. I'm very happy with it. There's the central design and the edge carving, and there's the wedge detail and also the Celtic knot. So there you go. That's everything finished, and it's ready to go to its new home tomorrow. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.